Hey, Stoney here, and this is Mechabellum Tournament. At the bottom here, we have Dizem playing as a Giant Specialist, and he's up against the creator of Mechabellum playing as a Fortified Specialist. Alright, round one is going to be Steel Balls, Arclights versus the Tarantula with some Crawlers. Now, Steel Balls, Arclights are a very decent combination because the Arclights is able to provide chaff clear where the Steel Ball goes in and attacks some of the giant units. And every time you play Steel Ball, it usually just turns into a chaff clear game because once the chaff is cleared, then your Steel Ball has the opportunity to pretty much kill everything else that's on the board. Now looking at the board here on Bear-like side, he is adding 2 marksmen, presumably to deal with the Steel Ball. Level 1 marksmen do 2-shot these Steel Balls, making them quite efficient at taking out a single squad. And the first round should be pretty predictable. Okay, Steel Balls are on target. However, there's going to be a pack of fans that's coming down to get that tower, which means the Steel Balls are going to have to work extra hard under debuff to get that Tarantula. And the good thing is we do have another Steel Ball over there getting the tower and securing the round for Dizem. Alright, reinforcements. Missile Strike is pretty good. I think Missile Strike works from getting both the Steel Balls and the Crawlers on Bear-like sites. Just Bear-like dropping the missile on Dizem. And also for Dizem, Missile Strike should be able to take down one of the marksmen. Okay, so now that Bear-like knows he's up against this sort of asymmetrical ball arclight push, I wonder what he's going to do. Typically, when you see a ball arclight push like that, you want to drop down a Stormcaller. Stormcallers are actually pretty darn good when you can hold the ball in place, especially now they're clumped by this squad of Crawlers. So if I were him, I'll probably put maybe some fans up here and the Crawlers right into the fans and secure the battle line right around this area and dropping the Stormcaller right here. So that Stormcaller is going to cover everything that engages on this line, and that's going to create a lot of damage on Bear-like side. But instead, it's going to be Stormcallers coming from Dizem. Stormcallers are also notoriously effective against the Tarantula. One is them being just very, very slow unit with only 8 meters per second. And 2 of them being large unit taking up entire 4 squares of space. Alright, so we got Stormcaller coming in from the other side with the missile. And I think this is a smart play because without the marksman, there's really nothing that will contest on the right-hand side for Dizem. The Arclight is able to kill off all the Crawlers on this side, and the Stormcallers is going to get the Tarantula. So what that means is even though he may not win on the left-hand side, the Stormcallers should be able to take care of all the slow-moving units that are walking over at the end of the round. Alright, good tower. Is the Stormcaller going to get his tower? Ooh. Just in time. And we got 3 Stormcallers left with the tower debuff. Should be able to get that 1 Tarantula, if not 2. Ooh, got that 1 Tarantula in just the nick of time, but the other Tarantula is just getting a little too close to the Stormcallers. Alright. Strike specs are always interesting. Oil is very interesting, especially against a ball push. So you have oil right here, preventing these balls from ever getting close. And of course, supply free money after 3 rounds. So it looks like it's going to be oil for both sides. Wow, that's very surprising. I don't see why there needs to be oil on Dizem's side. considering most of his units are already super slow. Okay, so he's putting oil directly on top of the tarantulas. Is he going to put down another squad of Stonecaller? Yes, he is. Alright, so that's the game plan. So he's putting down oil to trap everything on this side so that the Stonecaller can actually barrage it down, right? Very, very heads-up play here. On the right-hand side, Phoenixes are going to be added for Bear-like. Right now, there is no upshoot with the exception of one squad of fans, which means, oh, 2 squads of fans, but that is still not a lot of fans when you're up against things like Tarantula. So if you can get rid of the fans, then it's an automatic win for Bear-like. Alright, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. So now watch these Stonecrawlers doing work to these tarantulas on the oil. It feels like the oil is a little bit too far back, right? Because as you can see right now, yes, you're getting some shots off the tarantula, but just as your Stormcrawlers are getting into range, the tarantula move out of the oil and start attacking. So, just slightly, a smidge too far back. On the other side, the tarantula already took care of the fan problem, which means these phoenixes are going to reign supreme. And it seems like on the left-hand side, this level 2 tarantula is just tanking all the Stormcaller shots. It doesn't even care, allowing the phoenixes to come in and clear up the board. It's a very good round for Bear-like. Okay, so this is our first unit drop. A few very interesting choices. Sabertooth is going to work really well with the tarantulas, and that's a very formidable ground attack line. Mustangs is a decent pick if you're worried about the Phoenixes, and of course Wasp and Mustangs both are great against Phoenixes. And then of course there's the melting point in case you ever want to get into a later game. I think both the first 3 options, they're all really good for DZM. And I think Sabertooth or Mustangs probably works for Bear-like as well. Especially with the recent update to the recent buff, the 40% buff to the missile interception on the Mustangs, making them extremely viable when you run into Stormcrawlers. So in the past, when you use missile interception on the Mustangs, it almost changes role from like a chaff clearer or a damage dealer entirely to anti-missile, because they'll stay there and shoot at the missile for the entire duration, whereas in the air. But right now, with the 40% buff, it can actually get rid of all the missiles before they land, giving them a few seconds to shoot at the targets and then go back to anti-missile. So it's really a huge buff to the Mustangs and giving them that multi-purpose role that they're so good at. Vulcan went down for DZM. Vulcan has recently been slightly nerfed. ER Vulcan does no longer provide the additional damage, but the Vulcan itself is still very, very strong. In the second last patch, I think Vulcan got a buff with his projectile speed traveling 25% faster. Now, it may not seem much, but what it is that when you are surrounded by like a ring of crawlers, for example, or Mustangs, in the past, when Vulcan turns and realign the fire, it takes a bit longer, and which means it takes a bit longer for the Vulcan to actually kill the unit. And if the unit moves really fast, then it just kind of compounds. So right now, Vulcan is pretty strong. Some may even say that it's overtuned, because even without ER Vulcan, I think Vulcan can still fit the role of both chaff clearer and also giant killers. But it looks like the tarantulas are being stuck on the oil from Bear-like himself and getting gunned down by these high-level Mustangs and Stonecrawlers. So here's another round going to DZM. But so far, though, both players are kind of neck on neck on this game. You notice that the steel balls were sold off as soon as they noticed that they're no longer scaled properly. So steel balls, they're okay when they're on the same level with the tarantulas, but they're really bad if the tarantulas are one level ahead. And the reason being, tarantula one level ahead does 1,160 damage at every 0.6 seconds. That's almost enough damage to 2 or 3 shot a steel ball. And if you have level 1 steel ball, there's a very good chance that you'll never actually be able to latch on to the tarantula before it destroys the squad. So a very smart move, getting rid of the steel balls that's being outscaled, and instead switching into something else. Alright, we got a missile coming down. That's going to catch the Phoenix and the Mustangs. There's no missile coming from Bear-like just yet. We'll see. I want to say it's either going to be here. Yep, there it is. And or the other side. So it's 50-50. And I think Bear-like chose this one because this Mustangs might potentially upgrade. So let's see if he catches it. With missiles, there's always a bit of a mind game at higher levels, right? Sometimes the player would just straight out sell or put a shield on his highest level target for the missile. Scorch went down for the Vulcan, so it is going to be carry Vulcan. So this round is going to be Scorch. Next round is going to be more Chaff, and then the round after that is going to be range and more Vulcans. Alright, looking at Bear-like side, we're going to see more Crawlers. Interesting. We do have a missile, and that is going to get this squad of Mustangs. And of course, the Mustang and the Phoenix on the other side. And this is what I mean, right? So this Vulcan's got steel ball production, and you see just how quickly the steel balls die to this level 2 tarantulas. But right now, though, it's not the steel balls that we're worried about, it's this Vulcan. And this Vulcan is going to have another pair of steel balls, and that steel ball is going to get in and do some damage because the Vulcan is being focused. Nope. Got focused down a little too quickly, and of course, we got a line of tarantulas walking in to these Stormcrawlers. And a huge round goes to Bear-like. Okay, we're at the round 6 unit drop. Scorpion, Tarantula, they're excellent, but the problem with Scorpion right now is that we are looking at carry Vulcan, potentially with range next turn. So Scorpions, they're not as tanky as, say, a Fortress when you're up against things like that. But they do work, especially with Acid, really well with Tarantula. But it seems like Bear-like is going to go with Sandworm. Sandworms are great at tanking things, and they can get up to your face and distract you. And it's going to be a level 3 Scorpion coming from Dzem. Okay. The Scorpion is currently very far back, so I'm going to guess that he's not going to take range on the Scorpion. Hoping that after the chaff and everything is clear, the Scorpion is just going to come in and 2 shots. Actually, this is level 3, so he's going to 33,000, 37. Still 2-shotting the Tarantulas. And it doesn't matter if they're level 2 or level 3, they're still 2-shotting by this Scorpion. But no, he did sell the Scorpion and use that money for range. Okay, so now we're back into full carry Vulcan once again. Oh no, he was just picking it up. I was like, where the hell did that Scorpion go? Okay. Didn't sell the Scorpion, just stood moving them around, right? Trying to figure out a perfect spot. Right now, looking at the money, Dzem does have 300. So if he wants to commit, he can commit into range with the Scorpions. Okay, he unlocked Melting Point. And there's still no range on the Scorpion. Okay, very interesting. So what that means is that these Scorpions are going to serve as a bit of a tank in front of these Vulcans. But these Vulcans are going to do a lot of damage. The first one is already on target with the Tarantula and is bringing down to about half HP already. This one right here, even though it's facing quite a few units, but with this Scorch Fire, I think it's going to get a few Tarantulas on this side as well. The real problem, though, is there are these Phoenixes. They're shooting at these Vulcans. They're bringing them down. And if the Vulcans are unable to level, they're in a very bad place in the later stage of the game. Alright, so it looks like the Vulcans did get the job done. This one is level 2. The Sandworms are still alive on the board, and so are the Phoenixes. So this round is going to go to Bear-like. Ooh, okay, so Dzem is a little low under HP, but he does have a very strong setup. Scorch Vulcan, once you let them level, even if it just go from level 1 to level 2, that is a huge damage boost. I mean, notice how long it took that level 1 Vulcan to kill this Tarantula. Now it's just going to kill it twice as fast, and it's going to move on to something else. Level 2 Vulcan practically melts any sort of chaff that's on the ground, right? It does 220 damage every 0.1 second, so about 2,000 damage every second. And that's 1 second for pretty much all the things that are small. Spider-Man went down. Spider-Man is a good tool if you can get the Vulcans distracted. Right, so the gameplay right now is let's get some big units up front. Let's get the Vulcan distracted. So the Vulcan focuses on that big unit. And then the Spider-Man is going to sneak in and explode. And they do a surprising amount of damage. A level 2 Spider-Man, they do 4,500 damage. Right? And no, that's 4,500 damage times 2. That's per level. So that's 9,000 damage per Spider-Man, and you got 2 of them running at you, and that's 18,000 damage. That's huge. And this happens once every 15 seconds. Okay, so oil is going down for both players, but I think DZM's oil is going to do significantly more because of this, right? And that guarantees it's going to kill all the Mustangs, it's going to kill all the crawlers, and the only thing that's left are these tarantulas. And the tarantulas aren't really great against the Vulcans. And now with the melting points on the board, we got 2 on the right and 1 on the left. These tarantulas don't even stay on the board for that long. Right? Level 2 Vulcans are surprisingly tanky, and now with the late arriving Fangs coming in, it's just a beautiful board on DZM's side. Right? Just everything is timed perfectly. Once you get the chaff clear, we got your late arriving fans coming in, and these phoenixes will be shooting at nothing but fans and mustangs. So this is going to be a huge round coming from DZM. I think over 2,800 worth of damage here. Whew, that's a lot of damage. All right, so we're kind of into the final round here, and looking at a unit drop. There's not a lot of options here for Bear-like. I think Stormcallers is an excellent choice if you can keep the Stormcallers behind. Stormcallers with EM will disable the Scourge, right? Right now, I think he really needs some sort of EM on his side of the board, and neither of these units are particularly good. Wraith and Overlords, they die very quickly to the melting points. Wasp, they do okay, but we all already have level 3 Mustangs here, so that's not going to do too well. So it does look like it's going to be Wasp from Bear-like. I wonder if he's going to take it. And it's also going to be Wasp for DZM. Okay, so Bear-like is taking Stormcallers. A very good choice. I would love to see even more packs of Stormcaller right there in the middle, aiming at this particular Vulcan. And it is going to be EM right on the money. Now, with these Wasp, though, there is going to be a bit of a problem. I think you have to know that your opponent is going to take one of the air units. There were 3 air units that were offered, right? And then with the other one being Typhoons. I don't think Typhoon is particularly good in this case for both sides. But if you're going to pick air units, and if you're picking Wasp, I would just spend the extra 200 on a aerial spec. It is so good against an opponent that doesn't have it, right? If your opponent has that level 4 Wraith, aerial specs gonna just pound it down, and same goes with this Overlords. Okay, so we're gonna have more melting points coming down. We're gonna have a missile that's land directly on top of a shield. Lots of spider mines. Another oil coming down from DZM. Now the question is, will Bear-like clear out all of his chaff, allowing the Stormcallers to drop EM missiles on the Vulcan? And that's really tough. Alright, one of the Vulcan is now EM'd. And so is the other one, which means these Vulcans cannot effectively participate in the damage dealing. But the real problem right now, though, is that there's still so much chaff left on the board. And with just a few damage dealers left, and with their getting absolutely decimated, this is going to be a game to DZM. So very well played. Very clean, smart decision making, and just kind of snowballing it into the last 2 rounds. Great game. Thank you for watching. If your break isn't over right this minute, you have to check out this video. I'll see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.